pastors, ministry leaders, and future ministers. I'm Saehee, and this is Sylvia, and we're so glad you're joining us today.
Our podcast is designed to offer tangible leadership competencies that you can apply directly to your ministry context.
That's right. And for today in our Grow Together segment, we're going to be talking about co-pastoring. So Sylvia and I are co-pastoring with our spouses, and you've been doing this over 13 years? Yeah, for quite a bit. And I've been doing this for quite a while as well. But for people out there, you may be wondering, what is co-pastoring? Is that even a thing, right? So we want to define that before we move on. That prefix, co, literally means, when used as an adjective, mean jointly and mutually. So there's a sense of doing things together, right? So co-pastoring, what is it? We know pastoring is shepherding, right?
Yes.
So co-pastoring is shepherding the church with a big capital C, the body of Christ, together as a team with Christ as the head and as the Holy Spirit anoints the leader, right? That is co-pastoring. But we just kind of wonder, is that even a thing, right? It's a challenges, right? There's a lot of benefits of co-pastoring though, right? What are some things that you find it? There's like, I love co-pastoring.
One of the benefits for me is just a deeper level of synergy. Working closely with someone that is 100% for me. Yes. Invested in not only my church, but invested in my community, but mostly invested in me, invested in my success and my growth as a person.
And to work with somebody, right, who loved you for who you are and married to you, right? And there's just a natural synergy, and you know that he's all in or she's all in. We're doing this together. I mean, what an opportunity, right? To lead the church with somebody that you actually really genuinely fully love, right? There's nothing like that. So I love co-pastoring. Another benefit is the greater leadership capacities. So when two people come together and lead as one, co-leading, there are greater benefits because you bring two different perspectives, two different leadership styles, skills, and backgrounds. There's so much that you can bring to the table as a stronger leadership team.
Yes, another benefit to co-pastoring is you have a built-in confidant. My husband, as we pastor our church, he's in every situation. He knows what's going on with this and that, and I can be completely genuine and completely authentic and completely transparent and still be safe and well-loved as I'm going through different frustrations or hardships.
Sylvia, can I tell you and my friends out there that I've cried like a baby many times, but nobody saw me crying like a baby except for my co-pastor, because I can truly be myself. And as I was learning about this lead pastoral role, I will go to him like, I don't know what I'm doing, or like just frustrations or just some mentorship. I'll go to him because he understands and he wants the best for our church. Yes. Another great benefit of co-pastoring, friends, is built-in, you actually said that, built-in confidant, but built-in accountability partner. Iron sharpening iron. Sometimes it's very difficult, right?
I was going to say, sometimes that can be kind of hard.
Kind of hard, very hard, but it's necessary. And friends, it's biblical. We need to do that. And to have that built-in relationship, it's a bonus. It's a benefit, right?
And it comes from, it comes from a place of love.
That is so true. Oh, I love co-pastoring, don't you?
I do.
Yes. And there is a season where both of us were pastors' wives, supporting our husbands as lead pastors, but now we are co-leading together. In fact, Sylvia, your story is unique, and I'm so excited to share this with our audience today because you're in the transition from being a supporting role to a full participating co-lead pastor. So why this journey after 13 years of doing what you've been doing already? Why now get credentialed?
Well, I decided to become credentialed really to step out in obedience for what God has for me, because it is about obedience. In fact, it took me a while to begin the process to obtain my credentials because I wanted it to be about Jesus. I wanted it to be about obedience and not this need to validate myself or the need to just be out front, but
Yes.
really just about obedience to what God had for me as an individual.
I'm glad you said that because I too went through that when I was called to ministry over 16 years ago. And I struggled. God, number one, is that even a thing? Am I going to dishonor you by stepping into this calling? And would my husband be supportive? I worried for nothing. It turns out my husband was for it, God was for it, and I was the one who was like, am I ready to do this? Yes. So you're right. It's a matter of obedience. And when God calls you, what can we do but to obey, right? So that's wonderful. Yes. Another one of a season of transition from being a supporting pastor's wife to a full participating co-pastors. Now, let me clarify some things. We're not minimizing pastors' wives' roles because, if anything, we know what it's like to be fully participating 100% in pastors' wives' role. I think that's a wonderful ministry, and keep on doing what you're doing if God calls you to do it. But we're specifically talking about women called to pastoral ministry as a lead pastor or co-lead pastor. So please know that we honor all of you women and friends out there that are doing wonderful work. But there is a transition that she's going through. And so tell us about the second thing that you're learning in this season.
It's about being fully committed and all in, not just for areas that need to be filled, but fully committed to both the rewards and the benefits of co-pastoring, and also the frustrations and the challenges of it as well, that I am really sharing the load with my husband.
That is good. And until you fully understand what is the load that our lead pastor understands, I thought I knew that. I thought I knew when I was just supporting him in different areas. I thought I knew this ministry. But man, boy, was I wrong. Until I stepped into the co-lead pastors, there's just different knowledge, different information, different dynamics of leadership, and responsibilities. It's heavier. But if God calls you, then you got to do it. Yeah. What else are you learning?
To be fully committed in personal growth. Another of the reasons that I decided to begin the process for credentials is to, we mentioned before about helping to eliminate some of that confusion.
Yes.
And just for different people, and also to show that I am committed to continue to grow, and that I'm under authority, that I can be under authority, and just fully committed to growing as a minister.
Yes. And we love it. We love doing this. And there's a process of it, like you said, from being a supporting, wonderful role as a pastor's wife to fully committed and sharing responsibilities at a different level as co-lead pastors. Yes. There are benefits, obviously, but there are challenges. Let's talk about that. Let me tell you this. Last night, my husband and I stayed up till 1 o'clock. 1 a.m. talking about this co-pastoring. Yeah. Now, we've been doing this for a while, but we're still figuring this out. Yeah. And I love the process. As painful as it is, we need to go through this so that we can share our experiences with you. Let me tell you, go through the process. You'll be fine. God calls you both to lead the church, and you'll be great. But to do it, what is some of the things that we can do better to co-pastor better? Number one.
One of the things that we can do to co-pastor better is really take just a note of spiritual inventory, the gifts that God has given us for this season, to be able to be as successful as possible, and being okay with and knowing that ministry is seasonal.
Yes.
That God may not always have us in this place or this position or this role, and to really take note of what He's gifted us for this time.
That's good, because my husband and I just did that. He's an amazing entrepreneur, and he's a great starter. So we started our church together, but he recognized at some point that his gifting wasn't serving our church best. But he also recognized, and I did recognize at the same time, that I have a gift of development. So I'm a developer. And so I saw something that was beyond where we're at. So we switch roles, right? And so just use whatever gifts that are best for the season for your church and for your marriage. Yes. Another thing that you can do is identifying your lane. It can be a challenge, but it's an opportunity. Which lane to run in, right?
Yes, for sure. Just for me, I would fill the roles before as a supporting role as a pastor's wife, or whatever it was that my husband was needing done. And so for me, moving to a fully participating pastor in my church, it has been a challenge finding out where my area is to shine and what God has called me for this context. So really identifying your lane.
Yeah. And another challenge but opportunity is leaving things at church. Yeah, you laugh, right? And you're laughing too. I know this.
Yes,
Why are we laughing about this, Sylvia?
Well, because, when frustrating things are happening at church, or, and we're not seeing eye to eye sometimes, or we don't agree with how, whatever decision to do, but not to bring that home and be frustrated with each other in the evening when we need to be parents and relax. But
I'm guilty of this. Yes, I have committed this sin, but we're learning through this, right? So
we're learning as we go.
We have to really discern the different roles, the roles you play as a pastor at church, and the challenges and the different dynamics that you're facing at church is different from what your role is at home. So let's just have that clarity of mind, because it will not only strengthen your marriage, but it will benefit your church as well. And that's what we're all about, right? Ministering to the church. Another one is
identifying who has the final say.
That's difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
In most places, it's not going to be 50-50, and being okay with that, allowing the lead to have the final say. In my context, I know it's different in yours, but in my context of co-pastoring, my husband takes that lead share. He's the one that brings in, that does the brunt of the work of the ministry, and I do, less than a full-time work because I'm still raising relatively young children. So allowing him to have the final say in all matters, and being okay with that, and knowing that doesn't invalidate my role as a pastor. It does not invalidate my role as a woman in ministry.
And that ratio can change depending on the different seasons of life. And just like there are different kinds of churches, right? Different models and different looks and feels and atmosphere. This co-pastoring thing, there's no one size fits all. It's however you figure it out for the benefit of your church, as you both are being obedient to the call of God. And that's what we're all about, right? Aren't we? So based on our own experiences, and here's some opportunities for us to become better pastors. We talked about taking spiritual inventories. And if you're married, invest in your marriage.
Yes.
It's such a cliche, but why is it so important, Sylvia?
Well, for us, when there are things that aren't working well, as I mentioned before, most of the time for my husband and me, it's because something's not in alignment in our personal relationship. So investing in our marriage above all other relationships that we have.
And you know the devil's out there to attack the head first.
Yes.
He's very strategic. He's very smart, but we can be smarter, right?
Yes.
So let's protect our marriages, our partnership, and togetherness. And ladies out there, if you are not yet credentialed, or if you're on her boat and considering, I say do it.
Yes.
Let her story speak to you.
Yeah, begin the process, become credentialed if you are credentialed already, and maybe begin the process of being ordained.
Yeah,
but
license to ordain, yeah.
Yes, it really just make yourself available for what God has for you in the future.
Yes, and here's the last nuggets of wisdom that Sylvia and I would like to share with you that we learned is that find mentors.
Yes.
You can't do this alone. Really
Finding
can't.
people that can speak in to the process, speak into your life.
And who had gone through this already. And actually, you and I might be spearheading this kind of co-pastoring thing, so we better get this together so we can be mentors for the next generations, right? Yes. So we're going to do this. Hey, Sylvia, I love how you were just so transparent and sharing your journey. I know this is a difficult road because I find it difficult at times, but let me tell you, this is so rewarding. Yes. There are challenges, but rewards outweigh this, right? Or outweigh the challenges. As always, at the end of our podcast, we love to answer one of your questions. So Sylvia, read us the questions that you have for us.
Okay. How do you gracefully but confidently respond to those who think you shouldn't do what you're doing in ministry because you're a woman?
Wow. Yes, and that's a real question from our audience. My answer to that is just going back to what we've been talking about over and over in this episode, obedience. be obedient to God's call. We're not here to answer people or argue with people about your call to ministry or your role as a pastor. Just stand firm in the promise of God and be obedient to Him, because that's what He wants for you.
It's not about trying to validate yourself. It's, at the end of the day, it's about Jesus, and it's helping people come to know and to love Jesus. So step out in obedience regardless of what people say.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you joined us today. Stay in touch on Facebook and Instagram at AG Women Ministers. And until every woman fulfills her ministry calling, let's remember, we're in this together.